good morning, good afternoon, hopefully not good night, although it may be good night for a few of you across the pond. I'm Max, and this is the RHMax show. Today, we've got a guest, Staked Wealth. This is going to be fun. He is a gentleman that I came across and looked like he was having the time of his life. And been in following Richard for a while, been in HEX for a while. Definitely going to have some good stories, I imagine. And he's a libertarian, so we have some common ground there as well. Don't meet too many folks that are openly about it, at least. So that's going to be a fun discussion to get into. Yeah, it's feeling pumped. Pulse is almost here, isn't it? Just two more something. I don't know. I can't finish that sentence right now. Everyone's super excited. They're dumping, they're buying HEX, they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So the market is been out of control lately. But hey, if you're staked, why do you care? I've said it a million times. You staked? Why you care? Why you care? I don't know. Well, without further ado, let's bring in Staked Wealth. Welcome to the channel.
Hey, Max. Yeah, all about time in the market versus timing the market, right?
Exactly. That's the famous quote. It's you see people going crazy about this. I don't get it. When you're about, maybe if you're trying to time it, if you got something to sell, your stake just ended or something. We understand. Sometimes you want to take profit. You want to get rid of some of the interest. You want to convert that into have that liquid.
Yeah.
But I don't know why isn't HEX already pumping? I guess we just don't know a date for Pulse yet. Why are people dumping it? They don't like free PulseX. I don't know.
Like, I'll tell you what, I've had such a weight lifted off my shoulders since getting into HEX and not having to worry about the price. So mental health wise, like that's one of my favorite components. The fact that I don't need to monitor it. I have stakes. I only care like what is the price going to be when it ends stakes. And as long as I have a ladder and I don't put more than I can afford to lose, then I sleep well at night. And I don't have to worry about this volatility and worry about why aren't people buying it up and why are they doing this? Who cares?
Exactly. Yeah. When you hear so much noise, I'm just like, you have like other stuff to do, like planning for this massive wealth coming in, or using the massive wealth you have, or just like
I
your
know.
day job.
Go build a vision board.
Yeah. I mean, it's there's a lot of more interesting things: creating, writing, reading, coding. I mean, don't waste your life trading. Don't waste your life looking at the price. Like a lot of more fun stuff to
I
do.
know. And it breaks my heart. Last night I was just on YouTube scrolling through streams, and I'm subscribed to a couple like red pill channels per se.
Mhm.
And obviously talk about finance. It's like one of the things, that guys are curious about. And they did a crypto stream, and it was just so cringe to see like, really smart men that are on point about everything else. But when it comes to like crypto, they're telling you about these like new up and coming staking things and making like 13% APY here, but it's based in Singapore, so don't put too much
Mhm.
into it. It was just so cringe.
Yeah.
And I forget what I was going with that, but I just had to get
Some
that off my
crypto
chest.
insecurities, perhaps.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, to your point about not trading, right? Like seriously, like if I could get on that webinar, and obviously he was like, gatekeeping it a little bit and only having people come on and will ask him questions about like his middlemen staking
Mhm.
platforms and his referral codes. But if I could just go on, I would just tell everybody like, don't listen to this guy, don't try to trade it, don't try to, don't let it like, suck up your life, your energy, and just go stake and go live your life. So this is such a brilliant product on so many fronts, from everything from mental health and how I just described not having to worry about it to to your energy, your free time, and inevitably your wealth, because you're going to end up being
Yeah.
wealthier when you avoid trading it.
Hey, your mental health is your wealth in a lot of ways. If you don't have that, you ain't got much. So you can start with that first.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually how I like me, like how I
Well,
came to how
yeah, I was
sorry,
gonna ask. You want to go into it, like just to introduce yourself, how you got into
sure.
crypto, how you got into community, all that stuff. I think you were kind of going into it.
Yeah, I was going to draw this parallel where like the saying that uh, there's a great thing about the teacher doesn't appear until I forget what the quote is,
The students ready.
until students ready. Yeah, and for me that was like a mental health thing where again, I'll tie it into my story, but that's what happened to me. That I only like grasped it once I was mature to accept it and was in the right state of mind.
It's so true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for giving me a platform and letting me come on and speak. I'll try to keep everyone's story, is it's a everyone's got a great story. I'll try to keep mine somewhat brief, but also, take this, long form um opportunity to, expand on interesting parts of it. But
For
I
sure.
promise I'll try to keep it as as brief as brief as I
No
can.
worries. No worries. We're in long form mode.
Yeah. Awesome. So okay, starting from the last cycle, as a lot of Hexkins, it seems like this is their second cycle. So I got in early 2017, bought Ethereum at like $40, and then sold it at 100 and something, thinking I was a genius, right? So that's why we appreciate
Yeah.
staking, because you
Mm-hmm.
don't sell prematurely. So ended up, taking advantage of the bull market in 2017, but eventually that led me to margin trading, leverage, and long story short, blew up six figures in the the winter of 2017 2018.
Mm.
And yeah, and that was a bottom. That was, in terms of mental health, that was an absolute bottom for me. And
Mm.
I was so scarred from that kind of, major run up, not having experienced a bull run in the past, thinking that it'll just continue inevitably, and then having to really come to my senses and feel what it's like to blow up. So then I didn't really touch crypto for years. I had to go get a real job. I had to save up money and be very, 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 very humble. Um, but I was always subscribed to Richard, and I followed him all through 2017. Back when he was showing his BitMEX referral link to talk about taking
Nice.
advantage of.
Yeah, we're on the same timeline then. Yeah, I started following 2017 too. So you remember the
Yeah,
BitMEX links? If you have
yeah,
to
the
trade,
BitMEX.
I recommend you don't. But if you do, use my link. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and then so I was there like for the launch of Hex. I was there like day one.
Nice.
Um, and he did the stream, and he said, yeah, you can log in here and claim your free Bitcoin. I mean, I didn't have any Bitcoin at the time, but I did have, expendable cash, but I didn't really feel like, on ramping it again and getting some Bitcoin and claiming. And plus the
Mm.
claiming looked a little bit complicated to me. So I was
Mm.
literally there at the beginning, but did not free claim. And honestly,
Mm.
I even just unsubscribed from him because he did a couple of videos, introducing Hex, and
Mm-hmm.
CDs being so foreign to a millennial like me, and I think like a lot of millennials,
Mm.
it went right over my head. And so I literally, so imagine like like unsubscribing from life changing gains, you know.
Hey,
Um,
I mean, you talked to a lot of people today when he's doing the fashion shows. I imagine there's lots of people sub, unsub, sub, unsub.
Yeah, yeah, until they're ready for it. So
Yeah.
I unsubscribed, but what's really funny is like I ended up buying Hex like a year later. But I went back into my Chrome browser history because if you guys don't know, if you go into your activity, you can go back as far as you can with your Chrome browsing history. So I went back and I typed in like CoinMarketCap and like typed in anything like Hex related, and I saw
Mm.
myself like checking in on Hex like all throughout 2020. Um,
Mm.
but for some reason it still just wasn't didn't really click, and it seemed very complicated. So, and plus I was burnt from the 2018 experience, so I didn't want to touch it. Um, but then like, so basically like all through 2020, even though I'd heard about it, it was, I didn't really want to get back into crypto. I didn't really understand it. So
Mm.
I unsubscribed from everything crypto, unsubscribed from a lot of things, and literally just like put my head down and like just hustled at my new job, and
Mm.
did very well. Like got promoted, made some good money, just focused on a 9 to 5. Kind of forgot about the whole get rich quick scheme, uh, humbled myself, and had just put my head down and was working like all day, every day. Um,
Mm.
I had a full time job. I had weekend gigs. I was doing a whole bunch of stuff,
That's
and
interesting because a lot of people don't go, they go the other way, right? They go from full-time job to full-time crypto, and you went from at least part-time
Yeah.
crypto back to full-time job. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a really humbling experience. For me, it was like I went through like post-secondary, got a college diploma, then went to university, but then dropped out to pursue like entrepreneurial activities, and
Mm,
it was just jumping between different things, and then found crypto and thought it would be, a get rich quick scheme. But then like that humbled me, and then I got a full-time. So that was my first like full-time job was, after dropping out and getting burnt in crypto and then realizing, what, there's really no get rich quick scheme. I have to
mm.
like buckle down and earn it, right?
And then you
Um,
realize there was.
oh, right. So getting to that, um, in late 2020, I ended up moving to a different company. I should preface it that I work in sales. So it's kind of like it's a pretty doggy dog world where you kind of you eat whatever you kill, and the companies I was at prior to the most recent company, it was very cutthroat. It was very like, you really had to, you were only eating what you killed. But
Yeah,
then I got into a company through mutual connections. So again, a tip for anyone who's out in the workforce, like the best case scenario, like getting to the company that you're looking for, you're going to get into that through contacts. So if you network,
mm,
those are going to be your best jobs, not the ones where you're applying, in a big pool of people on
yeah.
Indeed or whatnot. The best jobs are going to come from referrals from people so make sure to get connected. And
Especially internal referrals,
yeah, yeah. So
because they can
luckily,
tell you a lot about the job and everything in particular. Like, do you actually want this job or not?
right, right. So yeah, definitely recommendation. Kind of work up to that, get contacts, and then get into the job you want, into the role you want through contacts, referrals. And the job I got into, it was like my dream job. I got the position I wanted, um, and this workplace had a very long term mindset. They even asked me like, how much, what kind of on ramp do you think you need to learn about the industry? And I said, oh, just
Mm,
give me 3 months and I'll know everything. It ended up taking me more like 6 to 12 months to learn everything about the industry because my industry is very, very complicated.
mm,
And luckily they were super, super fine with that. So it was just so refreshing to be in a company where they weren't cutthroat, where they had a salary for you, so even if you weren't making commissions you were still getting by, and
mm.
they really invested into the person. So that was my first time in my life where I really felt like the company was investing to me, and
Nice.
that gave me a chance to kind of take a step back, really learn the material. Don't just understand the surface level and regurgitate it to, make a quick buck, but really get into the nitty gritty because I was being taken care of.
Yeah.
And I'm still with that company, and they really set me up for success because now years later, I'm really, really successful because they gave me that kind of on ramp. And now as new people are coming on, I'm also seeing similar to me, they're really being patient with them and they're giving them a lot of leeway to grow. So,
Wow.
and you're only going to find those kind of companies, through contacts, through somebody vouching for you.
Yeah.
Um, and when being at that company and now being able to having so much weight off my shoulders, and now it's not so much of a gig and not so much of a month to month living paycheck to paycheck, but you know I know they're not going to get rid of me this month, next month, this quarter, next quarter. So let me just take things slow and really learn. Um, and I think that's when I was ready for a thing like Hex, right? Only then did could I pivot to the get rich quick scheme mindset to the delayed gratification, long term savings mindset. So
Mm,
I remember through like late 2020, again at that point I've accumulated a lot of savings. It was sitting in my bank, not doing anything. I was scarred and scarred from touching crypto again. But I remember I took my first vacation in a couple years in late 2020, and throughout my whole vacation, I spent 2 weeks just getting red pilled um, on what's in like investing, what's what do you call it, inflation,
mhm.
how do people save money, how do people invest money. So I just spent like 2 weeks through my vacation getting financially literate because I had this like subconscious sense that I had all these savings sitting in my bank, and it wasn't a very productive use of capital. And
Yeah.
if anything, it was a depreciating capital that was sitting in my bank. So I really made it my mission to to utilize it one way or another. And I'm from Canada, and I mean,
I was
similar
going to
to
say I've heard a little bit of the S sound, and then you also said university instead of college, and that's a
right.
giveaway.
Yeah, I'm going to say a lot, and I'm going to say a boot.
Yeah,
um, so being in Canada, as a lot of other markets, it's the housing market's very like hyperinflated. Um, Now it's a lot of parts of the hot spots of America, Europe. So I can't just say that it's just the Vancouver and the Toronto market. But being from Canada, and the most typical way to invest your money is you just buy real estate, and you can leverage it because the mortgage rates are very low, and that's what the whole craze is about, right? Injecting your money into the real estate market and speculating and blah blah blah. But then, as I was getting red pilled on inflation and that kind of stuff, I was also getting red pilled on libertarianism, what getting red pilled on governments
nice.
and stuff like that. So I knew that I did not want to entrust the government with getting it. I didn't want to get into the rat race, and didn't want to get into the system of the housing market. Um, so I continued renting, um, and instead looked for alternatives to get an ROI. And just started doing more research. And I remember in January of 21, I went back on YouTube, and actually on New Year's Day, so it was December 31st, actually. I was sitting at my desk and I had plans for New Year's Eve, but otherwise I had like time to kill in the afternoon. And I was sitting at my desk and Richard streamed. Richard streamed on New Year's Eve, and I said, "What the heck? Like, I got nothing going on. I'll watch a stream." And he did a stream, recapping the past year
I
of
remember that.
Hex. Yeah, and I like sat through the whole stream. I looked at it as in like, okay, now it's. I think back then it just broke a penny. It was about 2 pennies or something. It like hit a peak of 2 pennies, and then um,
Yeah,
through the beginning of the 2021st year, it would just go from 2 pennies to a penny and a little under before blowing
right.
up. So it was just under 2 pennies. It had already had such a great performance up until then. If a rug happens, if a Ponzi happens, like they rug within the first like 6 to 12 months. So now that it's been
Hmm.
like a year, I got the confidence that this isn't really a scam. And again, I never like distrusted Richard, but my issue with Hex was that he spent so much effort defending it. Like when I would go on YouTube and I would be recommended at Richard's streams, he would always be defending it from
Mm.
Peter McCormick, from other ones. And even though it sounded like it was, like still legit, just the fact that he spent so much effort defending it raised red flags for me.
Yeah,
So a little feedback for Richard or anyone else, if you really like focus on the negative, then other people think, why is he, defending himself so much? Maybe it's not legit.
yeah.
You
Every
know?
video I see that's got like it'll have some clickbait like Hex is a scam or something. I'm like, why? Like when people search for that, they might not even click on your video. I know the video is going to explain why it isn't, but I don't like that reverse psychology. That's not. I would not do that because the more
I
times
know.
they see the phrasing, it's not even.
Yeah.
You don't even know if they're going to click on your video. Like it's just going to keep reinforcing it.
That's exactly what did it for me. So for me, seeing like that notion that Hex was a scam was reinforced by seeing him defend it so much, and then seeing others, call it out. And even
Yeah.
though they were ignorant and they didn't really have the facts, just seeing it so often, and now we're at the point where we're joking about it in the community. Like people will troll on Twitter,
Mm,
calling it a scam. Like obviously they're Hexkins, but they just joke that it's that is not good, because the more people see that, the more they're going to be reinforced that maybe it is a scam. Why are so people saying it so often?
I know.
So
Yeah.
so so seeing that stream, a year after, gave me the confidence to take a second look at it. And again, I wasn't after the get rich quick scheme. I was literally attracted to it by the APY, and just because at that point I was evaluating different products, like different savings accounts within Canada and the banks that can go out and get. Um,
Mm,
I was literally just comparing it like apples to apples between like the different other products I could get, And I literally just got in for the high APY, um, and then dollar cost through the spring, and a little bit of in the early summer, through 2021. Um, just wanting a safe vehicle to park my money in and earn a modest interest rate on. So the price gains were just a bonus on top of everything. But I think that's a
Yeah.
pretty interesting perspective that not a lot of people have.
Yeah, I like how you took the, you didn't go straight into
Yeah.
Richard is always right. He's created this product like the cult like entrance into
Mhm.
into Hex. You took like the, hey, I went back and forth. I saw this guy for a while. I've blazed through the research. It seems okay. And my investment, what I've learned through investing and what I'm looking for, the interest rate and all that looks good. So like you kind of tick those boxes with it with, yeah, definitely very different entrance into the ecosystem than most people.
Yeah, and that's another angle to attack when you're onboarding. If you're talking to really like if you're talking to older investors, safe investors, they're happy with just the APY. They're happy even if on a 1 year stake, the 13% APY. So if you try to
They don't
sell
need the
them on
Playboy interviews.
right, yeah, no, but if you try to
Yeah.
sell them on the price appreciation, then like that guy Peter that Richard mentioned the other day, if you tell them, oh, actually it went up 1,000,000%, it might just turn them off even more. So
Yeah.
even though it's true. So
No, those are good
just
points.
yeah. And so then I got in early 2021. I got in between a penny to 2 pennies, but then dollar cost, very conservatively. Again, I was super, super conservative because I learned my lesson. And more importantly, I got scolded by my girlfriend at the time for, going all in and
Gambling.
yeah, and gambling. And that was, it's really, really difficult to tell your significant other, like, yeah, I just blew up like 6 figures. So I didn't want that to happen again. So I was super conservative, and I still am to this day, very conservative. And we'll get into like how I'm actually too conservative and have like missed out on a lot of opportunity, like in recently in Hex, because I've just been too scarred from going all in and and all that. Um, but
It's very interesting, man.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so
it
so
yeah.
fast forward to today now. Like what
Well,
if you like Pulse PulseX, like are those things that were you too conservative on those, or do you feel like they fit into your profile or your
I
portfolio?
was, dude, I was conservative on everything. Pulse, PulseX, Maxi, Hedron. Um, and in retrospect, like
I
the
hear
right
you.
play with all those should have been the opposite. Should have been like go all in because Hex is going to dip and you might as well take advantage of the bonus multiplier. And then when they launch, at least you can buy more Hex or buy more whatever. Or in the case of Maxi, I literally sat through, I had a big bag that end staked, and I literally sat in front of Maxi launch, like up until the last day, and I didn't even get a single Maxi because I'm like,
Oh
well,
man.
even though like I believe in it, and I tell my onboardees about it, it's really not meant for someone already with a ladder. So I'm kind of fine with what I have. But again,
Mm,
should have done it because like, what was the downside going to be? It was likely to have a margin, sorry, a premium before having a discount, anyways. So I could have
yeah.
got a multiple and a premium on the hex that was already liquid. With
I mean,
Pulse,
even claiming your Pulse Doge, you could have made a quick. I mean,
well,
a lot of
what?
people just made a quick few
Yeah,
$1,000 off of that just because
yeah.
they had hex stakes.
And I did too. But then I sold it like as soon as I got it because I was afraid.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, I had onboardees that just held on for a couple more days, a couple more weeks, and they're up like multiples on what I was up. So
right, right.
yeah, Pulse Doge, yeah, that's another good topic to get into because I love their distribution model, and I hope to see more
Oh,
future
we'll get into
launches.
that then.
Yeah,
Let me
launches.
say hi to the chat real quick. We got Crypto Compassion. We got Drift Bros, who has he's been number one in the queue for questions. He's got a few questions here that I think we should be able to answer. Mixed Crypto Arts from Australia. Had no idea. Good day, mate. As well to you. Bally Brand is here. Appreciate it, Brand. Hope to see you. Well, I'll see you next week for a stream, but hope to see you in person soon as well. Um, yeah, keep the questions coming. I do want to start with one because there's a couple queued here.
Yeah.
Let me see if I get to the first one. Yeah. Okay. So Drip Rose asked, Only 10% of the coins are staked. Average gain is roughly 40%. If the price goes 1,000,000%, do you really care about the next 40%? Please discuss. I think that's for you, staked wealth.
The price someone goes 1,000,000%. Do you really care about an extra 40%? Yeah, this I hear a lot. You know, honestly, the interest rate, and Richard says it explicitly, the interest rate is minuscule compared to the actual price appreciation.
Hmm.
So that's why I have a lot of onboarding sessions that lead to people making very frequent ladders because their mindset is to try to take advantage of the kind of run-ups
Right.
that happen in Hex more so than really delaying their gratification. So yeah, it's something that this system, I think the staking should match your personality, and I can talk about that, expand on that. But um, there's people that want to speculate on the price gains and end up making more frequent ladders, thinking they're gonna just sell off a little bit and buy back lower. And then there's
Hmm.
others that just want to set it and forget it and just lock in the much higher ROI when you actually go long. Because whoever goes long like 5, 10, 15 years is likely to outperform the guys that are doing 1 year or less just because they lock in that t-shirt rate, and that
Hmm.
t-shirt rate is brutal. Like whoever's watching a
Yeah.
t-shirt rate, I can tell you like it's not going to wait for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not someone who's trying to trade Hex. I've staked it, but there's other people that may want to, try to get their bag to be a bigger size, and they could do that just with the price appreciation versus focusing on the interest rate. So
Oh,
I don't know.
is that how you, when you're onboarding people, is that kind of like level one is you bring up, especially the conservative investors, the APY, and then level two is like also Hex can appreciate in price, like the coin can go up, and then level three is blah blah blah. Like how is that how
You
you think
know,
about it, or?
I wouldn't say that. Yeah, so well, when I get back to my origin story, a big part of it is onboarding.
Hmm.
So I onboard a lot of people, and at this point, I have like 10 different like weapons in my arsenal to 10 different angles to attack and get someone on board. So it's not so much like just the either the interest rate or the price appreciation, but it's getting on their same level and matching their kind of background and uh, kind of what they're used to. So it's more so when you're really starting to talk to someone about Hex, it's about asking the right questions, like listening, and then finding the angle. Oftentimes, I don't even mention price appreciation or interest rate as much as I mention mining and the parallels between Bitcoin mining and Hex mining. And in Hex mining, you can mine without having the capex costs, and that's how they resonate with it because
Hmm.
they care about the inflation.
So
Um,
so you're conflating the mining and staking for their education, for like for that.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that makes
And for
sense.
others, it's a lot of trustless yield. I look, here's a story. I spoke with in Mexico here. I have most people visiting Mexico are Canadian. So
Yeah.
everyone's it's like little Canada down here.
Wow.
Um and I'm
You
speaking
just
to one
skip right
guy.
through the US and just go to Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel right at home because everyone I talk to is like, yeah, I'm from Montreal, I'm from Canada, I'm from Toronto, I'm from Vancouver, Edmonton. And I was speaking with
Nice.
a gentleman who, again, just worked his butt off his whole life. Um, I'm not gonna dox him anymore, but he, put his money, like allocated his funds through different investments, and one of his investments was Russian stocks through
Hmm.
like that he invested through like I forget either BMO or HSBC.
Mhm.
And when the Ukraine invasion broke out, they literally seized like all his Russian stocks.
Oof.
He wasn't like raw about Russia or anything. He just had a hedge. He just had different hedges in his portfolio, and one of them was like a basket of Russian stocks, and they were literally confiscated from him. So with him,
Wow.
the conversation started with again learning about him, his background, where he's coming from, and pushing on being in control of your assets, and thereafter even earning yield whilst maintaining full custody of your assets. So that's the first that's the first thing I pushed like for the first half hour with him. Just the importance of custody and ownership. And then obviously him talking about, oh, well, I hear about Binance, and then telling him how, like, people that put their money in Binance are often hostages. And similar to what you've experienced, you can likely experience that with crypto exchanges. So again, and then getting into MetaMask and
If you don't like what happened to Russia, Binance.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. I like that, like trail that you can now make. Unfortunately, because of the recent events.
Exactly. So my last tip on this topic is like when you're speaking to people, ask questions, listen, and communicate to them on their level. So trying to find out what you can hook with, and then once you got them hooked on, okay, it's custody, it's yield, it's price appreciation, it's a hedge against inflation, and then focus on that first. That's
I'm
how you
glad
get
we have more people
really
who have experience in sales, selling HEX
right.
to people, because that's great.
Yeah, I'm so blessed to have so many parallels in my life, and everything's overlapping, and that's why I feel like I'm on a roll. And I've been on a roll with getting this Hexaco mansion up and running and stuff like that. So, unless there's
We're
any
gonna
other
go into
questions,
that. We're gonna go into that, but yeah, there's a couple more
any other
questions
question?
here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so DriftPro says, note that you will need to pay a gas fee for in staking, which increases in direct proportion to the amount of days you have staked for, as well as the wait cost.
Yeah, gas sucks. Gas sucks. Yeah, I've been talking to onboardees that are making 15-year stakes, and they're keeping 1 Ethereum in their wallet to end stake that stake.
You have to have ETH, or I guess Pulse now on the other side of it. But hey, that is, it hadn't occurred to me how that also solves that problem. I always thought cheaper fees, transactions. I never thought like, oh yeah, all those in-stake penalties are going to be, or in-stake costs that are going to be large because of the really longer stakes you have, like the bigger cost it is at the end of it, as far as I know. So if you have a 15-year stake, that may be very significant at the end of it. So you better have some ETH or Pulse at this point.
Yeah, I think Ethereum's going to go to 10K. I think Ethereum's going to have a bright future, but you're definitely not going to buy it for less in the future. So if you really want to be protected, consider leaving some ETH in those long-term wallets.
Yeah, and another continuation. A longer stake will generally attract a higher end stake gas fee. Yeah, I think we covered that. Yeah, thanks for the question, Drift Bros. Definitely a couple good ones there. The rest of it, awesome. Yeah, let's talk about the Hex mansion, man. You mentioned it, or
Well,
the Hexaco community.
Yeah, I should preface how the idea was born. And okay, fast forwarding a little bit, but when I got in, and it took me like 6 weeks to really grasp everything. But once I understood everything, and I just literally spent like every single day just learning. Once I understood everything, I wanted to pay it forward because I was back in 2021. I DM'd like Maddie All In. I DM'd Kareem. I DM'd Crypto Coffee. I DM'd Motley the Investor, and those guys helped me overcome some of the challenges that I had, some of the stuff that I had, and I wanted to pay it forward with the time they gave me, and that's why I created my website, stakedwealth.com. That's just meant as an onboarding tool. Obviously, for me, the reason why I made stakedwealth.com was because at my day-to-day job, I was in a place where I sell software, so people can book, a webinar with me and then learn about the software and maybe buy it. So I figured if I'm literally at my desk all day and with people booking webinars, why not just like offer that with Hex and let people book webinars in after hours. So that's what the whole point of Staked Wealth is. I aggregate a lot of the written and visual and media out there into one place to explain Hex how I would explain it, and then I let people schedule a one-on-one call with me. They can ask anything they want. Nowadays, it's more so pulse related, but
yeah, check out stake12.com.
Yeah, and then obviously the big thing about that is, and then I spread stickers around town and stuff like that. So these stickers
Nice.
they describe Hex, and then they lead this QR code leads to my website, because I feel like the big challenge of spreading just the hex.com stickers, which I have somewhere around here, is there's really no call to action. Like, sure, they go on the hex.com website, but there's still a lot of friction. So the workflow I thought of was, create the website with a call to action and with everything they need, including a one-on-one free call, and then on ramp to that um, source via these stickers. So yeah, it's been really effective. So I get a lot of people booking calls from just the YouTube stuff that I put out, and then a lot of people from the YouTube from the stickers, and then I try to place the stickers fairly strategically, like placing them where, I mean, like back when I placed them around Canada, I would tend to place them around blue collar areas, where the mindset was, if someone's kind of finishing a long shift and they're, really tired of their, the grind, and they're looking for a way out, they can maybe come across this, be open-minded, scan it, say, what the heck, let me talk to this guy, and then talk to me. And I've had a lot of people like that. So I've onboarded a lot of blue
Nice.
collar folks, and then I've onboarded some white collar folks, um, and some of them are down right now. So
Yeah, it happened the last 6 to 8 months. Onboardees are probably not extremely happy. But yeah, I mean, that's part of it too. I imagine when you're selling it to them, you're saying like, this is not a 12 month
oh yeah.
deal. This is this is multi-year at least.
And for that reason, for anyone listening, we just said, Max, that's why it's important to really understand T-shares and make T-shares the pillar of your pitch. Because if you just pitch them at the surface level of 10,000x gains, and we're going to do what Bitcoin's going to do, they're going to be very emotional when the price dips. But if you pitch them but if you understand T-shares and you explain to them what T-shares are, then they're gonna have a long-term vision. So that's the tip for anyone to avoid
Have you
emotional.
had a lot of
Talk about this.
people calling you when they, on CNBC, they see, oh, Bitcoin's ticking 25%
Yeah,
down. They're like, hey, how's HEX doing? What's going
yeah,
on?
exactly. So did the website. Then it's like spring, summer 2021, and I bought a ticket to Maddie's first in-person Vegas show. Again, I was really, bought it to Hex, and I knew that as it would start pumping, I would rather celebrate it with other Hexicans.
Mm.
So I bought a ticket to that, went to the Vegas conference, and my first bit of notoriety, and why people know me and why Richard follows me and knows me, is because I put out the first ever vlog from that Vegas conference.
I
So
saw that. Yeah.
yeah, everybody was wondering like, what's going on? What are you guys doing? What are you guys up to? And then as soon as it finished, I was the first one to really publish everything that happened there. And then he retweeted it, and then I got a lot of followers, and then just continued making videos from there.
It's also always
So
nice to get a head nod from Richard.
oh yeah, that's one of my biggest accomplishments is just being followed by Richard and all that. Um, and when I went to Vegas, obviously the best part was talking to people and networking and talking with like-minded folks. But so when I got back, I realized you really don't need to travel to other parts of the world to find like-minded people. There's likely Hexicans in your neighborhood. So I started the Hex Canada Telegram chat. I now run it. We have 280 people or so, 271 people in it across Canada, and I started doing meetups. So since coming back from the Vegas trip, and off that high of having a little bit of fame in the community, started organizing meetups, and did some meetups. Got some people along. It grew. At our second meetup, we had Frosty, who now a lot of people know in the community. You know him?
No, I don't. I know Wendy's, Tindy's. Don't know
Uh,
Frosty though.
Frosty. Okay. Yeah, no, Frosty. He's a Hexadorian 5555 on Twitter. He's a guy
Okay.
keeping the fort down in Ecuador, and he posts a lot of girls and all the stuff they do there.
Nice.
So yeah, a couple of the Hexicans that came to the meetups, they're now doing their own things, and I had a show with some of them on Thursday nights in the winter. Anyways, So, tip for anyone listening: if you have not gone to the meetups, you don't need to fly to Vegas to find like-minded people. If you can start you can start events in your area, wherever you may be in
Yeah.
whatever country or state. Post on the Hex group chats, post on Twitter. I just posted on Twitter, and a couple guys DM'd me, and they're like, "Yeah, sure, I'm also in your town. Let's meet up." And that's how it all started, and that's how we got the ball rolling. So I brought what I learned in Vegas about community and how great it is to really connect and finally talk, on the same wavelength and the same language with other Hexicans. Um, and I brought that to Canada, and then fast forward to late 2021. Um, Canada became a little bit tyrannical with the stuff they were doing. So I wanted a way
Yeah.
out. And yeah, I don't want to get into a lot of that, but um, yeah, with with everything that was going on there, um, I said, what the heck? Like, I don't really enjoy it here, anyways, and winter suck. So I'm going to escape somewhere warm, and thought, why not do it with other Hexicans? So I put out a call, and we had 4 Hexicans living under the same roof in Mexico. And at the peak, we had 7 Hexicans because the thing just snowballed, and people were coming down from different countries.
Oh, nice.
And after I put out the call, I literally had like random people DM me, um, and then I qualified them, just make sure that dates were lining up and stuff like that. And we had people from Colorado, um, Canada, also Norway. Um, we also had Switzerland, Germany, uh, just come down and hang out with us. So little people from all over the world. We hadn't I hadn't talked to them other than a couple DMs, and then
Hmm.
when we got all in, when we got in person, it was like we knew each other, and we were making inside jokes, and we were like brothers.
The power of
Um,
community.
exactly. So what we accomplished through that is, I think, one, showing the entire crypto community, whoever paid attention and whoever comes across the videos and the content in the future, that there actually are prosperous communities in crypto that don't just sit in their mother's basements and trade and ship post all day. There's people that are in crypto, living their best lives, prospering, and sharing their experiences with other like-minded people. The people that came together were all conservatives, libertarians. Um, we had the same views on crypto. Everyone had their backstory of the kind of scars they've experienced and how they ended up in Hex. And
Hmm.
everyone was a big believer in Richard. My favorite part was us sitting down for every Richard stream. It was such a you know it was such a event. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, anyone watching Richard at home, and you have your notifications up, and you see that he streams, you run to your desk and you watch it or whatnot. But imagine doing that with your best buds, like all running in together, like on the living room. All right, get the TV up, and then you watch it and you laugh, and it's a great time. Um,
That's
Besides
awesome.
that, yeah, it was the best. And besides that, we obviously did a lot of adventures, that made a lot of tours. We went on deep sea fishing, went a lot of zip lining, went to a lot of cliff diving. We did a lot of sightseeing in the areas. Went to the pyramids, did our pulse sacrifice from the top of the pyramid,
Hmm.
because the
Nice.
Mayans would sacrifice people there. So
Okay.
we like sacrificed like for Pulse, and then we sacrificed Fruz, like Peter McCormick there. So we just had, so for November and December of 2021, we had this Hex house. We And originally it was supposed to be a mansion. It was supposed to be like a villa, but where we were staying in Mexico, we were staying in like the touristy My Riviera area,
Hmm.
like the Cancun area, Tulum area. It's they're more so condominiums and penthouses rather than houses.
Hmm.
So we didn't really secure a home as much as we secured like a penthouse. So we had this 2-story penthouse that had a big jacuzzi on the second floor, had a bedroom on the second floor, had a big living room, kitchen, balcony. Everyone had their own bedrooms. It was really, really nice. And we streamed. a couple streams there. Interviewed like Whales Only, interviewed Michael Morton from Hex,
Shout out to
and
Wells.
then super generous. Again, I got him on the show because I went to Vegas, met him in Vegas, and was just able to DM him like, "Hey, Wales, like, what's up? Can you come on the show?" So again, the power of networking, right? The power of investing in your community. So more than just kind of being part of Hex and watching the streams. If you get involved, if you maybe volunteer at events, you go to events, you get to meet people, and then those connections end up paying off tenfold down the road. So yeah, my tip is for
Sure.
anyone that's just kind of just sitting there, get involved in the community, go out, show your face, give back, um, and it's going to come back to you. So because I met
Yeah.
Wales at Vegas, I was able to get him on the show, and we did a stream onboarding a local Mexican. We did a stream just talking about things, and then yeah, I made a lot of pictures, took a lot of photos. Um, Now, actually, today I posted a video recapping a lot of what we did. So anyone who goes on my
Oh,
channel, Staked Wealth, there's a lot of videos and photos of exactly what I'm describing that you can have a look at. Um, and it's already live. I posted it as soon as we went live.
oh,
So
perfect. A nice Easter egg after the show. Or
yeah, yeah.
hey,
So that's pretty much my story, how I got here. What I do now is on board. If someone books a call with me, typically every other day. A lot of people just get onboarded through reading the website, um, and yeah, my job is pretty relaxed, so I have a lot of time, a lot of free time. So I get
mhm.
to talk to a lot of people about Hex. I get to shitpost on Twitter and try to onboard people through arguing on Twitter all day. Um, and yeah, my whole yeah, pretty much as I'm staked and I have a ladder for the next 15 years, there's nowhere to go except giving back and getting other people in here if it's the right product for them. That's my
I
thing.
love the way you present it, and you're so methodical, and just have those kind of social skills that you can sell people a product that is going to make their lives better. If they just listen, take it to heart, and stake. Don't buy it and then sell it the next week. You stake. Like this is not a get rich in 2 weeks product for sure. Just want to say hi to the chat real quick. Everyone, appreciate you watching. Dipro still has the questions coming, which is awesome. Everyone else, yeah, share the link. We're still going to go here for a bit longer. We got definitely some more to talk about as far as libertarianism goes. But question from Drip Bros: Hex dipping in the market because it's still an ETH mainnet. Will it do its own thing once it's on PulseChain? It's supposed to be independent. What do you think, Staked Wealth?
Sorry, I was retweeting. I'm retweeting our stuff to get it out there. I posted
Oh,
in my
okay,
community group. Keep retweeting all the tweets to get more people in here.
nice.
Wales retweeted it. So I missed the question. Dipping in the market as a mainnet. Um, I don't know. It's supposed to be independent. I don't know. Like, I mean, this question can mean so many different things. It could because it's people want to say that Hex is decorrelated from the rest of the market, but a lot of liquidity is still tied to Ethereum. So when Ethereum dips, maybe it dipped, I'm not sure. Hex is still going to dip. So it's still moving largely with the rest of crypto. Um, but PHEX shouldn't. So maybe it'll be even more decorrelated with PulseChain. But I think today it's still fairly correlated with Ethereum.
Yeah, I remember Richard saying it. Didn't he tweet before asking people to take liquidity away from ETH and put on USDC so we could miss some of the dips? Of course, that would decorrelate from the run-ups as well. But at the time, if you think it's going down, yeah, the more deal correlation, the better.
And here's a tip for on the topic of onboarding and different angles to attack. When I'm onboarding like people that are coming from like VC hedge fund backgrounds, the main thing they care, again, here's a tip for anyone who doesn't know, the main thing those types of people care about, like big investors, institutions, the only thing they care about is seeking out decorrelated assets because they already have their basket of
Mm.
tech stocks, they already have their commodities, um, they already have a little bit of crypto exposure, oftentimes through some sort of proxy that's traded on NASDAQ. Um, but if you can tell them, and shout out to hexgraphs.com, which quantifies a lot of data. One of the most important charts on his website is the decorrelation of the general decorrelation of hex relative to Bitcoin. So if you have a meeting set up with anyone from a hedge fund or VC, someone from that's worked for a hedge fund, that's how you hook them. You tell them that, hey, you can get exposure to this crypto asset, which is a high yield, high appreciation, and great tokenomics, whilst being decorrelated from the rest of crypto. Because if you tell them, oh, this is another crypto, and go on and talk about Hex, they're not going to hear you because they're just going to assume it's correlated to Bitcoin and they already have exposure. So why would they buy it?
Wow, that's a great point. We have a lot of good onboarding gems here, for sure. Yeah, when PulseChain? Question from Old Man That Kicks. Yeah, that is the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? I think everyone's waiting for any news. But yeah, don't get your hopes up. It's coming anytime soon, and don't think it's going to be in 6 months from now. It's going to be whenever it is. So we'll know as soon as Richard knows for sure. I know he's sure his comments are full of when PulseChain 17 times a day. So I imagine we'll know in the near future at some point. Yeah. 2 more weeks, right? Dude, that direct correlation is long gone. PulseChain wants to change that when PulseChain. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to change the decorrelation. It's going to PulseChain. Once we have a launch date, a lot of people are speculating that Hex will pump because they will want the PHEX. Funny enough, everyone has been dumping Hex recently. A lot of questions around why that is, and now I think a lot of it is just there are a lot of unknowns. I mean, you have the whole broader market and the whole macro interest of like everything's dumping, and then risky assets are dumping, which people still consider crypto a risky asset, and a lot of it is. And then you have that compounding with unknown launch date that's been people have been speculating for months it's going to launch. We thought it was going to launch last year, which was funny enough. I don't know why that was even the case because PulseX hadn't even had the sacrifice yet. So I don't know why maybe there was like a time period between when people thought it was going to launch and not. What do you think, Stake 12?
Well, PulseX wasn't announced. So when people sacrificed for Pulse, that's all they knew. And they were expecting it last year. And then he came out and said, you know what, I need to fork Uniswap and we need to have a new sacrifice. So yeah, I was in the earlier basket of people that thought it would come shortly after the PulseChain sacrifice ended, because he presented it in the way where he's literally just copying and pasting Ethereum, making minimum changes as to not mess
Excellent
up
marketing.
Yeah. So we'll see. But it sounds like there's a lot of Saudi and Russian mob people that are upset with people for.
What are you talking about? That's
Yeah.
I haven't heard any of that on Twitter lately. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's I'm really something that's near and dear to my heart. Libertarianism. Like, super nice to meet another libertarian. I've been one myself for a long while now. I know there's different flavors and all these things too, but how would you describe yourself? Your beliefs, pragmatic, absolutist, like somewhere in between? Like how do you, like, why, how, how do you feel about the whole thing?
Well, I think it's a label that's better than just calling yourself a conservative. I'm someone who's anti-government. I'm someone who doesn't pay their taxes, but hopefully the people watching this don't see this. Anti-establishment. But when I also describe myself to some people, I just say I'm a free market capitalist. So I think Richard is like that. He's a libertarian, but still on the spectrum, and he's on hardcore. He knows that got to be kind of flexible, and you can't just have it one way. And and he did that great stream with another libertarian guy that I found interesting. How what resonated with him.
Was that the guy? He had kind of the meltdown too. That one.
I think so. Yeah, he was like a skinhead.
Kept talking about. I just remember the conversation because he was like on the cell phone, He was on the
No. That guy
okay.
wasn't libertarian. No, Richard on his own channel, he did a guy with I think a bald guy. I remember he had a "Don't Tread on Me" flag in the back.
Okay, I'll have to go
So
back and
yeah,
look at that one. I've
look
watched
for
every
that
single
one.
stream, but I don't for some reason it's not coming to
That's the
mind.
only like libertarian themed stream he did, where he actually spoke with someone. They talked about Liberland a lot of, and
Okay.
that was and again, that's where they found common ground, right? So he finds like common ground with different people, different ways. But when he spoke with that guy, it was definitely like more political.
And is it like so? Is there certain people you like in the libertarian community, like Peter Thiel, Ron Paul? Like, are there people that you see that like, wow, I wish he was in office, or oh, I hope they do well. I hope they're able to get some, libertarian values, like make sure a lot of stuff doesn't happen, or things like that.
I don't have a lot of time to follow a lot of their work. Someone I kind of get red pilled on regarding finance, who's like a free market capitalist, but he's obviously like libertarian, is George Gammon, and he posts like
Okay.
R-rated stuff on Odyssey. So he's got like a YouTube channel, George Gammon, and it's very PG. But if you want the R-rated version, you can go on Odyssey. So yeah, I hang out on Odyssey and I listen to some people on there. But yeah, lately especially, I haven't really had a lot of time to follow them. But from my experience with like meeting people, nearly everyone at my at the meetups that I've organized, and nearly everyone, pretty much everyone. I just haven't confirmed it with everyone, but everyone who's lived with me in Hexaco, they were libertarian, like straight
Hmm.
up. Um, so it's very common. So I think
Like,
if you go to meetups. Mhm.
what? Why do you? So I could see there being a lot more libertarian crowd in crypto in general,
Yeah,
and
just crypto thing.
yeah, but like, what makes you think it's so attractive to people in crypto, and what makes it so not attractive to people that I don't know. I mean, you just think people just like the government to take care of them, and they want to rely on all this stuff. Like, do you think culture plays a factor? Like, how?
Well,
What do you
like
think?
I mean, coming from Canada, where people vote for free shit and people want free handouts, um, so like when you talk to crypto people from Canada, like at the meetups that I've done, they're very much opposite of that. They know what it's like. They especially because we have a liberal government. Um, they
Mhm.
know all about all the red tape. They've experienced like all the hassles. They hate the government. They, you know,
But Justin
they're.
Trudeau is so handsome.
I know, and well, anyways, I mean, yeah,
I
screw
like how
him.
that hurts the case. He's like, damn it, I wish he was not so handsome.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, and then yeah, yeah. So just crypto in general attracts those people, and then if you talk about crypto in Canada, it's gonna amplify that more. And then coincidentally, the people that I've gone down to Mexico with, they were also like, here's an example for you. I went down with one of my roommates. I'm not gonna dox him, but he had a tattoo. I just need to remember his name. He had he had a tattoo of yeah, Ross Ulbricht's face on his
Oh
body.
wow,
You know,
I'm not sure. Is that what that's? I
that's the
guess
founder of Silk
signaling.
Road. Oh yeah, so
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I mean I
just
know who he is. I'm just like
yeah,
that's a very complex signal.
yeah. You can interpret it in different ways, but he was, yeah. I found that to be really interesting. Like you really can back up your
Oh
ideologies
yeah. Oh yeah. That's
with
that's a legit marker.
yeah, with a face of that person, and the reason why he's got his face tattooed on his body is because like he was involved in Silk Road, like that overlapped in his life, and he wasn't like selling drugs or anything, but that was a part of his life to some degree, like just being involved with Silk Road, and he just said like that could have been him, um, and he really like um it really like opened his eyes to the government and what they can do. how they responded to Ross Ulbricht. So I think
Yeah.
he became very like anti-government based on the response, and ever since then has been a very big advocate for Ross. Um, I know he supports him any way he can. He's very active, and just wants to see a future that's kind of less that's smaller government, a future that's smaller government. So
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of I would consider myself a pragmatic libertarian. I think we do need certain social programs, like just a minimal amount. We do need a military, of course, which I think is a pretty universal view as far as that goes.
yeah,
Um, I think government can help in certain ways, but it a lot of times the money's just not used for the right things. It's used for poor political favors. It's not going to the people who need it. It's going to whoever the biggest donors are, things like that. So every time we get a new government program, every time we get a new big thing that now creates a bunch more paperwork, bureaucracy, and just takes life and consciousness, time, energy away from the people, that just to me it just goes against so many of the founding principles. And just yeah, if you're not bothering people, if you're not bothering anyone, you should be able to do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting other people, violence, all these things. The non-interventionalist thing with libertarian was always interesting to me, where
yeah,
I would never think that I would never consider myself like a non-interventionalist. Interventionalist. That's a hard word to say. Uh, but it's definitely appealing in the way that if you want to look to the world as a more peaceful place and you don't want to radicalize other countries and all these things, there's so many benefits to that method. I think there's of course trade-offs and things like that, but the benefits are it almost like when you tell somebody that, oh, you're just, you're a hippie peace flower, you don't want anything. It's like, no, you just don't want to cause more problems than you solve. I think that's the way I look at it.
yeah. Not a lot of people know what libertarianism is. I have to explain it
Or
to
they think
any
you're a gun
girl.
nut. Every time I talk to somebody, oh, you're just a gun nut, or blah 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 vaccines, blah blah
But
blah.
like low key, I am.
Well, not that there's
Yeah,
anything wrong with being a gun nut. I'm just
yeah,
saying, like they
yeah.
think like you're just extreme, like everything goes, like let's just
I
there's
know.
no
Like,
taxes, like they think that's all this stuff.
there's a great meme of being called like a right wing extremist. Meanwhile, your only response is just like don't mess with me. Like just don't don't tread on me.
Naval Ravikant had a great tweet the other day that was there's one side that wants to try to fix everything, and the other side just wants to be left alone. And I thought that was very meaningful. Like,
Yeah. I literally just want to be left alone. That's why a lot of Hexicans, even though people like flex and they say, yeah, I want to get a mansion or something. Honestly, when you talk to a lot of Hexicans, especially older Hexicans, all they want out of Hex is to just get like a cabin in the woods and for no one to mess with them. That's what
yes,
I find really interesting. So people, I don't know, maybe from the outside, maybe think we're materialistic, but all I want is a cabin in the woods.
yeah, I think and when it goes back to financial freedom, I know that's the buzzword of the whole industry, but it's that with when you have money to take care of yourself, your family, and do what you want to do, spend
Yeah.
your time the way you want, no one telling you, how to dress, where to be, what to do, what to go, all the, all this stuff. When you have that, that enables you to be like to reach your own potential, to like your self sovereignty enables you to be the best version of yourself. And yeah, I think that's what really got me into libertarianism too.
Right.
That's what I feel that in my heart. I want to have the most control over my life possible, and money can help that in a lot of ways. It's a means to an end.
Again, a different angle to onboard people, right? I often start with sci-fi. I often start with what you just said about self-sovereignty when I'm talking to
Mhm.
certain people. So again, people, like, biggest tip for you, no, like, get proficient at all these different angles, and then onboard people to hacks while speaking the same language, which could mean different things to different people.
Yeah, and it reminds me of even the straw man, steel man type thing. So I tweeted something the other day about steel man. If you want to have a debate, so first of all, debates aren't to win. There aren't winners and losers. There, you shouldn't look at it
Right.
that way. The debates are a way to find the truth, to learn, to figure out whatever, to come away with a perspective that's better than what you had before. Maybe it's different, maybe it's the same, maybe it's strengthened, maybe it's weakened, whatever.
Right.
So when you strawman an argument, which just means you just take the other side, make it look ridiculous, and then you act like that's what they believe in order to try to win, get a cheap shot, things like that. That is, it is not only it's not only not effective usually, but it's harmful, and it kind of shuts down conversation, which is not what debate is. Debate is a learning conversation. But if you steel man the argument and you're able to take your opponent's argument and give it the strongest possible reasons and purpose, and like ask, like know the argument better than they do, and then you can build it up and say, okay, everyone, this is exactly what, therefore this is the other, this is the side that I oppose. This is not what I want, but here is the best version of it. Now you can break it down. Then you start working on it piece by piece and breaking down what is wrong with it, what you don't agree with, all that stuff. And that's how you learn. That's how you be effective in debate. There's no like, oh, killed that debate, I just murdered them. No, that's not the goal. The goal is, did you learn something, or did your audience learn something? And did you present their argument? Can you argue their point better than you can argue than they can?
Right.
If you can do that, you can learn a lot, and that's what it's supposed to be for.
Were you a debater in school? Or
am I a debater?
Were you a debater? Or
oh
are
no,
you
I'm just a studier of philosophy and wisdom.
Okay.
I try
Well, you're
to
very
make these
passionate.
days.
I appreciate your passion for the art of debating, because it is a lost art, and people our age nowadays don't appreciate it, or for them it's about being in a bubble. They don't really critically expand their worldview, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what came to mind when I was talking about it too, because you've seen. So Richard does debates to score points, right? It doesn't. It's not about like his marketing, and it's nothing. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying like he doesn't go into it wanting people to necessarily know the fundamental truth about each thing that he debates. He goes into it showing that his point overcomes the other one in one way or another. Having watched every single video he's ever did, as far as I know, hours, hundreds of hours of Richard, I've seen him debate people when it wasn't even a real debate. It was just like the other person said something and he just went to crush it. And I know it's him. I know what he's doing. I know the point. He wants to show the strength, power in his argument. But you don't necessarily come away with that learning a lot. A lot of times you're just, especially if you're not really listening and you just see him pounding, breaking through the noise, or I forgot how he puts it. Those are just kind of pounding things, which they serve a purpose, but it's more of a marketing purpose than a real learning debate purpose. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'd like to maybe get in debates one day. I've actually thought about it. As the channel grows, maybe I will have some debates about things that I'm passionate about versus folks who have different opinions. But it'll never be for me to crush them. It'll be for me to learn their position, and if I need to modify mine, or if I see flaws in theirs that are even bigger, I'll use that to my advantage as well.
One opportunity for you, Tangent, who's a Hexican out of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
He is someone who's been vocal lately, trying to go on stream with Richard to debate Bitcoin. He was a fairly early Bitcoin adopter as well, and he really, really knows it. So he feels like he could, even though he's a Hexican, he thinks he could have a productive debate with Richard on Bitcoin. But he's obviously not getting, no one, like Richard's not taking his stream because like he's just a Hexican. What's that going to do for his streams? But if you want to,
he tends not to take Hexican interviews because he wants to appeal to broader audiences in different communities.
It's a better rationale.
Nothing personal.
Yeah, but if you look up Tangent on Twitter, perhaps you could have a debate with him, because he looks like he's actually like ready. Like he's tweeted like, I'm actually ready. I could debate other Hexicans or Richard on Bitcoin and defend it. And yeah, like that's playing devil's advocate about Bitcoin is, I think, really, really interesting. Like it's really interesting because like Richard's obviously taught us how it's just like a outdated tech and who wants to buy the MySpace nowadays. But I'd love to see a debate with someone who's who actually could defend it. And he says he could do it better than anyone Richard has had on the show.
Even the Bitcoin Magazine folks?
Oh yeah, anyone's better than them. I mean, their biggest hustle.
I might have to reach out to them.
They're unfortunately, I see them pop up in different libertarian spots, because they do a lot of sponsored content. So like
Hmm.
this one thing I'm part of called ESI Development, they build homes, they build gated communities in like you know uh, beautiful parts of Latin America, for any crypto enthusiasts that want to escape and pay with crypto. Anyways, like they obviously pitch a lot of libertarians, they pitch a lot of Bitcoiners, and like Bitcoin Magazine, they make a lot of their money off of companies like this that could just go on and sponsor their streams. So they were nowhere near equipped to actually debate Richard, because their day to day is just doing sponsored streams for anyone who's looking to sell to Bitcoiners.
It's
So
hard to debate Richard, because even though, and
yeah,
again, this is my, just for me watching him so many times, I, he's not always, he cannot always rationally like crush the other point. And when he can't, he has all these amazing techniques where he can just like get out of it, or like keep, or like push through it, or pivot. I mean, he's like a master debater. Say that word slowly. He's very good at what he does. So again, means to an end. I'm not really criticizing. I'm just saying like he has a mission, and he's very good at getting he's very good at getting that message through, that mission going and
clearly,
progressing, no matter what you throw at him.
yeah, yeah, and he's very intelligent, and more importantly, I would get exhausted. Like debating. Like debating takes a lot of mental mental energy.
Yes.
I would be exhausted after half an hour,
Well, if you
and
have
he
a
can go
girlfriend or
hours.
spouse or something, you can always you should have plenty of practice by now, though.
Practice. Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, but yeah. Well, I got my significant other into Hex at the same time, and but again, she's a lot more emotional, so every dip is very painful for her, and especially the past 7 months. And here's a fun fact: when
Mm.
we came to Mexico, that was the top. So we jinxed and did the
Oh,
the, the mansion at the
wow.
top, and well, I mean around there, and yeah, it's hard to pinpoint, but yeah, around there, and then have like when Hex really crashed, like when it really had like no legs at 40 cents when it really fell. And
Mm.
then and now that it's coming to an end, because now Hexkins are moving back to where they're coming from, because summer is now nicer from based on where they're from. Now hopefully we jinx it back to now being the confirmed
Yes.
bottom.
Do you think
But
you
we
want to send everyone home, you go back to Canada, and then the price goes way back up again?
exactly. Yeah, it's funny how we jinxed it. And well, the other funny thing is, so when we lived through it, and then like we lived together for 2 months, and then people went away for New Year's, Christmas, blah blah blah, and then
Mm.
people came back together. But just that when they came back, we already had like different living arrangements. People lived on their own, but we're still in the same town. Uh, so
Huh.
when throughout that whole kind of time where we were hanging out, the funny kind of joke or theme was, okay, who's gonna quit? Who's gonna sell and just leave the Hexagon mansion? Who's gonna get fed up with everything and just gonna. And so we were gonna make the joke that like after we did the house and we went on Discourse Syndicate and we went on other shows to talk about what we did, we wanted to joke about how, oh yeah, one guy didn't make it, just halfway through, sold everything, emergency end staked, just
Yeah.
went home.
He's like
Bought
calling his mom.
yeah, he's like it's
Yeah.
like Survivor, right? It was like Survivor.
Yeah.
Like you don't make
Yeah.
it, like, all right, pick me up. Like I bought a Ripple again.
He
Fuck
starts
this.
walking across the border. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
rough. Rough.
That would have been so funny.
Yeah. But so no, everyone stayed strong though. Everyone had diamond hands.
Yeah, thankfully. But it just like how funny would that be? Like you actually live together, and then one guy, he's like, I can't take it anymore, guys. I'm
You know
gonna
what?
abandon.
Play that back, and with you all not coming together. That's the power of community. Is if you have people around you, that's much more likely you're going to stay in, because you
Yeah,
have the social pressure. You don't want to be the first one to quit. You have people to, when you're feeling bad, you can talk to them and they can reassure you. And community is, everyone just says it like this what do you call it, like this phrase that you just overuse all the time. Oh, the community is most important.
yeah,
Community is so important. If you actually think about why it's important and how cryptos that have no community people just go in and out of them. They just trade them maybe,
Oh,
or they die. The HEX community, the Pulse community, the Richard Heart ecosystem, when you have people building product after product on top of it to keep even more, there's like layers. If you look at the ecosystem there's HEX, there's Pulse, and then you got Pulse HEX, and then you got the DEX, and then Wallet coming later this year, it sounds like, and then you have Hedron, Maxi, Mintra, Liquid Loans, all this stuff that keeps people in the ecosystem. That makes it harder to leave, and that's a good thing. When you're in the right ecosystem, you want it to be hard to leave. That's how you would save people, as Richard would say.
yeah. And lucky the same guy that had that Ross Ulbricht tattoo, he had hex tattoos. So anywhere we would go and we would onboard, I could point to him and be like, "What's the inflation rate?" And then on his calf would be the inflation rate. Like different things like that. So talking about community, talk about people who are so devoted they get tattoos, and you can just point to it and be like, "All right, we're onboarding." Show them show them different things on your body.
You can get the wrong tattoo. Mike Novarats knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's oof. I remember seeing that when he released that, and I'm like, what's this Luna thing? Like, let me check if this guy is.
Oh, you bought some, didn't you?
No, I swear to God, I've not bought any crypto other than Hex, but I just saw it on my feed, and I'm like, okay, well, what's this? If this guy's so into it, yeah, I don't know what he's going through. That's very hard.
He's definitely went through some tattoo removal recently. I have a feeling.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if he's getting a tattoo, he's definitely has got a big bag of it, and I don't think he sold the top either. So.
Hey, we got someone asking about the watches. Can you make the watches spin?
Well, I have some. One of my videos is I'm into replica watches, so I have like replica Pateks, Philippetics, APs, Rolexes. So I don't really have many with me because there's no point of me flexing in freaking Mexico where I can get my forearm cut off on the street.
Yeah. There's someone also asking, can you stroke the bear? Can you pick up the bear? That was just me asking you, but
yeah.
No, I think it's cool. You did the candelabra. You got the chair, which is the color's a little off, but that's okay.
Let me know if you want me to send you. Let me know if you want me to send you this JPEG. You could use it.
Man, if I might actually want to use that. That'd be cool. To kind of because I'm always switching it up because I got green screen and all that stuff. So or like sometimes like through. But yeah, please send that to me. I might have to try it out.
Yeah. But on top of the watches. Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying. I have a video where I show off my replica watch collection, and I just say, "Hey guys, I know you're looking at Richard, and you're getting FOMO for buying your first Rolex and on all this other garbage that is not going to make you any happier. Like if you like the bling bling and you want to have a fancy watch to match your cult leader, consider just getting a replica. A couple $100, and you can
buy some real metal. Buy something that's real metal, like silver, gold, stuff like that. At least.
I know, but on topic of jewelry, like Twitter's Richard's always posting his watches, right? And people are getting FOMO. They're like, you know what? Maybe I should sell a little bit to buy a $10,000 or $20,000 watch. Instead of doing all that, my recommendation is just buy a replica. You can my tip is go on Reddit. There's a whole replica community, and they tell you the best suppliers. And for a couple $100, you can get your favorite replica watch sent to you. I have a lot of the watches that Richard has, a lot of the Daytonas, the gem Daytonas, and they cost me like a couple $100, and I can enjoy it already. I don't have to delay gratification for 20 years to afford a $100,000 Patek. I can already have one on my wrist, and I'm not trying to trick anyone. You're just doing it for yourself. So if anyone wants watches, recommend replicas, and you can already ball out like Richard.
When you put on a suit, you feel like $1 million, right? Doesn't matter what brand of suit, you feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess maybe I'm not rich enough to know what the difference is between suits, but I put on a suit, I feel a lot richer. I'll say that.
Oh, somebody asked, do the replicas
where's the duck? Are the bear and duck still together? What's the story on that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have that duck here.
You don't have the airplane deal. You gotta. You should do another background where you just have like little tiny images of all the things he's ever put in there, and
it should be like an NFT collection. Like you collect, they're collectibles, right? You collect all the different items Richard's
I'm
stream.
sure there will be. He's already said he's going to
Should
make
be,
a NFT of the diamond, the 55555 diamond.
right?
Excellent says Max is going to unbox next stream.
Yeah.
Don't give me any ideas. I bought some stuff recently, but I'm not sure if it's interesting enough to unbox. Mostly just stream equipment. Do replicas work as a watch? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do, right?
Yeah. The only difference is they have like basic internal parts um, that may not last a lifetime like a Rolex will last. So, but it's still like it can still be like self-winding, so it doesn't require a battery. You can still just power it off your wrist motion. So yeah, the only difference is it's got different internals. Like for example, like the cheap internals, some of them they'll make the ticking noise, whereas like the real watches they're silent. So little things like that that really no one pays attention to, but they're little
Okay.
intricacies, and that's the only difference. And the casing will be a little bit thicker because again, it doesn't have the super high-end parts that are super slim and could fit into a real Rolex or something. So it'll be a little bit of a thicker watch because it's got cheaper internals. But otherwise, it'll still last you years and
And you can
years.
feel good you didn't enslave some Swiss people to spend millions of hours on your watch.
Exactly. You can do it now. There's no shortage for them. There's a bunch of them out there. I really recommend doing it and getting that out of your system because it's an unhealthy habit. Actually spending tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands on watches that
Yeah,
serves like
I don't wear watches. I have a
and
couple watches and they're nice, but I mean, nowhere near that nice. But I have nice, but I just never watch. Like I'm
yeah.
on birthday or something. That's about it.
And the people onboarding here, like I'm talking to like wealthy, like so the VC people, the hedge fund people, legacy finance people, and they tell me about their watch because like one of the common grounds we have is watches. So we'll talk about watches, and then everyone will tell me how their watches are in a safe. So
Yeah,
what's the point?
it's like the gold argument. It's like so we dig it out of the ground and we put it in a safe, and we dig it out of the
Yeah,
ground and we put it in a safe.
yeah,
So
it's ridiculous. So enjoy a nice watch today for a couple $100.
yeah, that's good. That's good advice. Hey, I want to ask you about keeping crypto safe too. Like so how do you do it? Like paper wallets, hardware wallets, like you just like YOLO
Yeah.
MetaMask, keep it on a text file
Yeah.
or something. Like how do you do it?
Okay, I'll share my opinions on that. I think the recommended the opinions of Hexkins should be hardware wallet and super safe and like a metal engraving of your seed phrase that's kept 6 feet under in front of your in your backyard or something.
I see where you're going with
Um,
this.
because some people do that, and I like the engraving, but I'm not going through all that effort. I'll tell you what I do. Like I'll tell you my opinion on it. And a lot of people book calls with me and they ask about security, and I really can't say much about hardware wallets because I don't really utilize hardware wallets. I don't think they overcome the vulnerability or the attack vector of your computer having a keylogger and you losing your seed phrase through typing it into your keyboard. But otherwise, they still don't keep your seed phrase safe. So at the core, it's about how are you keeping your seed phrase safe. Um, Luckily, from the beginning, when I got into Hex, I had the foresight to split up my ladder across different wallets. So I have one seed phrase for the stakes that are 11 to 15 years. I have a different seed phrase for stakes that are 8 to year 11. I have a
Hmm.
different seed phrase for stakes that are year 5 to 8 and thereafter. That way, I don't have to like I can bury those super long term seed phrases because I really don't need day-to-day access to them. So my first tip, if it's a little bit of a hassle, but if you're making new ladder, consider de-risking having one compromise and having everything compromised by splitting it between multiple seed phrases.
Hmm.
And then how I keep my seed phrases safe. Well, that's always a balancing act because your seed phrase should be relatively accessible, but at the same time secure. Because another attack vector is oftentimes you lose your seed phrase or you get compromised due to human error. So if you're too much on one end of the spectrum, like if you're too secure and you really keep it away, you keep it too far away, that's a vulnerability. In my case, because I need to be kind of like on my feet, and if like Canada goes into like some totalitarianism, like overnight. I need to get up and
Start
run.
kicking out the truckers.
Yeah, like if they come for the truckers, like I need to be like gone. So, and if Mexico goes berserk for some reason because it sells out to the World Economic Forum, I need to get on the plane and leave. So it's a balancing act to make it accessible but secure. But what I do, my suggestion, is I keep my seed phrase embedded in a short story, and then I share that short story essay with my loved ones, and then
Mm.
they know the combination of which words are significant,
Mm.
and make up the seed phrase. So that's how I keep it. So if a hacker gets into my if I got a Trojan on my computer, God forbid, he wouldn't know, he wouldn't be able to decipher a simple short story. He can just pass over it, glance over it, move on. Um, if I call it like MetaMask short story seed phrase, yeah, there's something to it. But otherwise,
Mm.
it's just a simple body of text, and I tell and then I give I share that short story with my loved ones, because if something happens to me, God forbid, I want my family to have those riches, have that treasure.
Right.
So they know the combination just off the top of their head. Okay, what's the combination to find out? It could be, for example, it could be like the first word in each paragraph. It could be the last word
Mm.
in each paragraph. It could be the last word in each sentence.
The
You
third
know,
and the 13th. Yeah, you just make up some kind of deal.
what other people do, they'll find combination, they'll pull out words out of the Bible. So their reference point will be like the Bible or something that
Mm.
people get their hands on, and then they have like a code of, okay, on page 5 it's, this one. So either you do it through, like, you have a book, and you let them know which words to pull out, or you have a body of text that you could have written, and they know the combination to pull out the words. I think that is the
Mm.
balance between accessibility but also security for your seed phrase, and that's what matters at the end of the day. Not the hardware wallet, as much as just the seed phrase, and then making sure that you plug in that seed phrase into something that cannot have a keylogger. Which, as much as people want to shit on phones, if you have a burner phone, especially an Apple that can't get Trojans like a Android can, um, I would do that.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of good points. I mean, I
For
hadn't
sure.
thought about it the way with the books, and so you would use the hardware wallet in combination with those, or maybe
I mean,
not
you
necessarily.
could,
I mean,
you
not
could.
necessarily, but you could.
Yeah, I personally, I don't, because again, like, something might happen in Canada, Mexico. I need to, like, go now. I might not have my luggage. Right, I gotta go. Like, I'm someone who's a doomsday. Right, so so I need to be up and on the go. Um, so for that reason, I have this body of text. So I don't even have the hardware wallet. But yeah, people could have hardware wallet if they want.
Nice. Since somebody mentioned PLSD too, and I know at the beginning you want to talk about that. You want
Sure.
to talk about yeah, Pulse Dogecoin and the interesting way that they're doing the distribution.
Well, fun fact. So this background was uh, designed by Pulse Doge Win, because if you know, it's the same art that they use.
Mm.
So it's some of the free art that they put out on their Twitter. Um, they have the same one with, like, Richard as the dog sitting in the throne, but then they have this one with no one in the throne. So yeah, I never got into Pulse Doge Win. It's a joke that they didn't register the .com. So pulsedoge.com.
Quite an oversight.
Yeah, like, and I have a hunch that they gave a supply to influencers to talk about them. So
Mm.
whereas here, the distribution is based on, the kind of number of people in each category in each league, and I think that's the fairest way to do it. Because the issue with the Hedron launch was, there's a lot of the whales can just continually dump, especially if they lock in that 10x bonus. And then it's
Mm.
not fair for the little guy. So instead of giving the power to the whales, the power is given to just the average Joe, based on the leagues, who most likely has uh, the kind of the best intentions. So likely the whales and the turtles have the best intentions in Hex, because they want to see it go viral and scale, versus the whales that are already pulling out like 100 grand per month to live off on, at least.
Yeah, I think that was something that struck me when I was looking into the project too, of doing that, and it didn't really sink in until a little bit later on. But yeah, I agree. It was wow. You're incentivizing, like the middle class, like the people who are not,
Yeah,
they don't need to sell, they don't need to dump, they don't. They may hold on to it longer because their bag is kind of determinant in that factor.
yeah, yeah. So I hope more distribute their coins that way, and it makes sense. So I think they've shown a great model. Hopefully, they inspired others who are going to do free claims to do it this way.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
I'm surprised it hasn't happened so far.
I was able to mint PSD off of each wallet because each wallet was a turtle, so
Smart.
it wasn't bad. And then my onboardees similar to them. So yeah, hope it happens more. And I think it's the right way to do it versus kind of like Hedron. And I mean, Hedron did it the way they did it because of other factors, but Hedron led to a lot of supply shock and a lot of dumping because it
Mm.
just rewarded the biggest holders who oftentimes don't really care as much, or like they'll dump their Hedron just to buy more hex, which is fine. But I mean, if you want to have your new product, you don't want to give it to the guys that are just going
The
to dump it.
hexologist style. Every time there's a coin he talks about, he's like, "Yep, dumped it all for hex immediately."
Exactly. And and he exactly. So
He has his own strategies.
yeah. So the future is squids, turtles, and I mean dolphins are doing a lot for the community, but I don't see maybe sharks are doing a lot for the community behind the scenes. But I think the people that are doing the most behind the scenes are probably the dolphins, just because they already have some value, like they already have net worth that they can kind of present and convince people. And then the squids, because they're most passionate about graduating and becoming multimillionaires, and then the turtles because they want to become millionaires. So those are the people you want to be rewarding with free stuff and who
I
are likely
agree.
to be holding long term. Because these sharks, they're not holding. A lot of these sharks' average length stakes are not long. They're sharks just because they have a lot of quantity of tokens, but they're not delaying gratification. The dolphins are delaying gratification. The squids are delaying gratification. The turtles are really delaying gratification, but the sharks aren't. And the whales, obviously, there's a few whales.
Yeah,
So why are you
we've seen that in
rewarding
the hex
those?
dumping lately. We've seen who there's less
Yeah,
people than we thought were staking, because you stake but
yeah,
you can't dump. There's not a lot of people who are going to sacrifice the T shares and sacrifice the interest and stuff to merge and stake and dump. It's
yeah. I got a lot of flack on Twitter when I talked about my frustration with a lot of the free hacks I was given away in the beginning, and then people called me like a socialist for having this point of view. But I
mm,
think even Richard admitted that there's like a lot of supply given out in the beginning, and then big payday just at like I was there post. I think me and you are post big payday, correct?
no, I mean it was before Big Payday.
Oh, before. Oh, good for
I
you.
mean before Hex existed. I remember there was CFD token.
Oh,
I
okay.
remember
So
Bitcoin Hex.
you were day one,
Oh yeah,
right?
oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you mentioned you were same time as me, but oh, it's
Well, you
same
said
time as me, day one.
2017, so yeah. I mean,
Oh, right.
Hex didn't launch till 2019. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
2017.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, the CFD stuff, there's the website is still up. You can still see a front end with a CFD token,
Hmm.
and Richard is still the team member on
I
that.
saw that. It's got that really
Yeah,
old picture of him, and then
yeah,
David the scientist.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's still so people don't know that. People don't remember the old website because that old website that was also something that really didn't convince me. It was just like put
Mm.
together, and you saw
There's
Brent
been a
on
lot of
there.
websites. I remember the website was changing like every other month. It seemed like it's like, oh, new version of website, new version of website. I'm like,
Yeah.
a lot of it was like minimal changes, but the first version, yeah, it was a lot
Can,
different
can,
than it is now.
can I say a shout out to Blue Bum? He just commented. So I made a shout out to Blue Bum in the vlog that I posted today. So Blue Bum, you
Hmm.
can go check that out. This is the guy that made me go balls deep into Hedron.
Ooh,
Blue Bum, he's a moderator in the Hedron chats, and just one of the most he's one of the most outspoken public figures in Hex that's most knowledgeable on Hedron. So he's very helpful in the group chats. He's always answering questions. And the reason why I know about Hedron is because he came on the show that I had with Canadian Hexicans in December, and he told us that this thing was going to launch in late January, and make sure to go to count your stakes. And because I listened to him, it was December 30th. Blue Bum came on, and because I listened to him, I good accounted my stakes and was able to free claim.
Nice. Nice.
Um, so big shout out to him. So many great people giving back in the community and being so selfless. And that's exactly what makes this community so great.
For sure. No, I mean, the people who get the information out there, they go out of their way, put the time, energy. We got people sending mail. I remember I saw a tweet. They want to send them in-person mail, and you see like the screenshots of the tweets of people who have got it, who are in crypto and are appalled because they still think Hex is a scam, blah blah blah. But the fact that we're getting to people via mail, if I get a Hex flyer, I'm gonna go nuts. Like that's amazing. Like there's so many onboard opportunities there.
Yeah. So I know who does that. And can I just post in the can I post in
Yeah, drop the
your
link. Yeah,
okay.
if you can
I'm
post.
gonna I dropped it in our private group. Can you post that in the
Oh, okay.
public?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
he's the guy who's sending out those flyers is raising money to do another round. So if you appreciate his, um, his efforts, because that whole campaign cost him 100 grand. Nobody knows that.
Wow.
That cost him a
Wow.
100 grand, and he sent out like, you'd have to check like 200 grand or 200 like something 220 grand, 220,000 flyers, to the top, to the wealthiest zip codes in America. But he's still got a lot more zip codes to mail to. So if anyone wants to donate to his
Yes, please
campaign,
support him if you can. That's a
yeah,
very noble initiative.
yeah. Again, I met him in Vegas, and he recognized me when I went to Vegas, and he's like, "Yeah, Staked Walt," and I'm like, "Oh, cool." He runs hexstreamers.com. He runs hexdailystats.com, and he does so much behind the scenes. He funded a whole Reddit ad campaign, and he posted on a Twitter. So he posts like, yeah, I put in like 20 grand into Reddit ads, and here was the ROI, and here are the clicks and stuff like that.
It's good to have numbers.
So
Yeah, you want to
yeah,
measure your marketing to make sure it's effective.
exactly. So these are the people. If there's anyone out there that wants to donate to causes like this. They're gonna pump your bags
Yes.
instead of like
Yeah.
NASCAR,
Are,
instead of some other thing.
are you going to PulseCon, by the way, later this year?
What's going? I don't know. Like, I mean, right now with it's just a matter of geopolitics and what it takes to get into America and what it takes to leave America, what it takes to come back to Canada. It's a matter of that. So I don't know yet.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try my best to make it, but yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a huge event. I unfortunately I
Well,
missed the Hex conferences. I kicked
yeah,
myself for that, but I'm not missing Pulse as far as I can this year.
yeah, yeah. I think Blue Bum was part of the people that were raising money in the Hedron community to get the Hedron founder and his right hand man to get a booth at the PulseCon. So
Yeah, I saw. I think was Maximus is a sponsor as well. There's a few
Maximus, yeah,
different
again,
projects.
people raise money for Maximus, and I think they raise enough money for them, for the two founders to go to the PulseCon dressed as gladiators.
Ah, that's awesome. And are they going to stay at Caesar's Palace?
There you go.
Hopefully,
Are they gonna
hopefully we
battle?
get like a suite, some kind of awesome. Yeah, we get them like the penthouse at Caesar's Palace and like do some crazy infomercial for Hex or Maxi or whatever it is going on. That's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
good.
Oh, I'm my thing is Hedron. I'm in Hedron. Maxi missed it. Wish I had it, but I didn't really feel like it was for me. But I could have taken the easy premium on that. And then PLSD again got out of that, but I'm not knocking it. I think PLSD is really interesting. It's a play. It's a hedge, and yeah, I think
It's a
it's cool.
hedge in the meme community. And but the
It,
distribution model is the thing that's
yeah.
most worth talking about, I think, for it, if
Oh yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well,
What's
I'm
your
gonna get you
opinion
out
on?
here on that. It's about
Oh,
so we like to leave on gratitude. So every day should be a little bit more like Thanksgiving. Great conversations. Say what you're thankful for. What is there something, someone, some product, some person you want to express gratitude for?
geez, really on the spot. I should have thought of
Should have scrolled down on
um,
that doc, man.
okay. Gratitude. Yeah. I think I saw it. Do you want to give yours first? Or did you
Oh,
already give yours?
yeah. I mean, I think product wise, I mean, I kind of did this on one of the other streams, but I got a new camera. And
Oh,
shout out to Logitech, the streamer cam. It's
Yeah.
been it's definitely an upgrade over the one I had before because I haven't been streaming that long, and so I've been like doing different things for my setup and buying different products, see which one works, and different mics, and now I got the AirPod Pros and all that stuff too. So trying different lighting. So I think that's one of the things that made a difference lately. It's just got much better hardware acceleration type stuff. I was having some problems using my Mac before with other stuff. So gratitude to Logitech. Appreciate it. I know that's a superficial one, I guess, but hey, you can be grateful for cool products too.
You know what? For me, on the topic of hacks and what we talked about, I like to dedicate my gratitude towards that company that gave me the long term mindset. As much as I want to,
Nice.
as much as I'm grateful for Richard and the other founders and the community's efforts, I wouldn't be here if I didn't get into a position and work for people that had a very long term mindset and had instilled and had invested into me and had instilled to have for me to have a very long term mindset. I really would not have this 15-year outlook. I would be working paycheck to paycheck like a lot of my friends and colleagues still do, like my significant other still
And they
does.
will continue to do probably forever, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you can't grow, you can't focus on sci-fi if you don't have this type of mindset. Because why would dedicate years to the gym if you want a quick fix and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So
Scivive is Richard's books, one of the books he's written. A Wild SJ does a great audiobook narration. If
yeah,
folks are interested in that on YouTube, just search A Wild SJ or Scivive audiobook. There's a new one. There's a previous audiobook too, but this one's got a sweet female voice, which really does the trick as far as like listening for hours and hours and hours. She does a
did you
great
listen
job
through
with it.
it?
Sorry?
Did you go through it? Did you go through it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm waiting
Okay.
on Fix the World now. I'm waiting on Fix the
Oh,
World.
okay.
She's working on that now.
I have it. I have it in my watch later. But I need to get on that. I already have an audiobook queued up, but I will listen to hers.
It's
I,
great.
I'm I, I've read a little bit of sci-fi when Richard was dropping the docs, attaching the docs, but I want to listen to her narration.
It's pretty good. Shout out to $80 Jumpstart Amazon. Yeah, it's you need jump starters from time to time too. I've definitely been there. I've had plenty of cars and mostly trucks down the side of the road, and you're just like, yeah, it'd be nice to have especially the new electric ones. They're pretty cool. To just like instantly do it. You don't need another person to pick up battery cables, for example. Why is audiobook a bridge though? Is it a bridge? Is it not word for word? It's a good question. I don't know. I never thought it was, but yeah, I'm not sure if you know the answer. If anyone
No.
knows for sure, hit me up afterwards on Twitter. Cool. Well, thanks, Stake Wealth. I want to call you Stake Hex every time. Staked Wealth. It's not just Hex because not he's into all Richard Heart products, so I like you're spreading out, being more broad. Your product, and especially if you're selling, if you're on Twitter, branding and stuff like that. Staked wealth, that those words mean stuff to people. Like, and it's
Yeah.
can elaborate on better, all this stuff like that. So I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Check out my vlog. I just posted it today, recapping and showing off a lot of the adventures and talking about Hedron Maxi, Pulse Doge, the documentary, uh, and giving shout outs to Hex Graphs, Hex Daily Stats, all great resources to try to pitch in my videos.
Yeah, find them on YouTube, find them on Twitter, the same at Staked Wealth. And yeah, appreciate you joining the RHMax show. Super fun conversation. I'm gonna love clipping this one. So many gems, especially on onboarding, man. You're doing great. I'm so glad to meet you, and this definitely won't be your last conversation. I don't.
Of course.
Hey,
Thanks
take
for
it easy,
having me.
man.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks everyone.